Meeting. We're moving on to item number 5, bylaws and policies. Zoning amendment bylaw number 1113, 2026. Nicole, do you have a staff report? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you through the chair. So this first up on the agenda is the adoption of 1113, 2026. I could go through the proposal again, but maybe as a summary, recommendation is that 1113, 2026 be adopted today. And as a reminder, that's to rezone 1005 and 1010 Riverside Avenue from C3 to MUR2. And that also includes the removal from the MUR2 general regulations, the ground floor design, and multi-unit dwelling requirements. If you need a summarization of that, I can do that, but this is the adoption of that bylaw.
Can we find out what the adoption actually is for? It's for the apartment on Riverside.
This is the zoning for the Riverside apartment. This is the rezoning. It's not the variances. This isn't the variance part. This is just the rezoning.
Okay. And so was that Waterway's old property or Twin Acres?
It's Waterway's old property.
Okay.
So it's we've already gone through the planning process a few months ago, and we've also gone through some public hearing. Okay. Yeah, and unfortunately, time to speak on behalf of this was actually, some time ago. So we will allow everybody at the end to speak. But, unfortunately, the letters have all been submitted. And did you submit a letter?
I just got a letter in the mail to see.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, there is no public portion of this until after, and we will let everybody speak after.
Okay.
Okay, but you'll be able to listen to the discussion and what I'm not sure if we have somebody online from the developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so it's, we'll at the end of the meeting, we'll allow everybody to pop up to the microphone and speak. So, thank you. Nicole, that's done?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the adoption of the rezoning. Yes.
So I'll read the recommendation and then we'll if there's discussion, we'll talk about it. Okay, recommended the District of Sicamous zoning amendment bylaw number 1113, 2026 be adopted this 28th day of January, 2026. Can I have a mover? Pam, seconder? Bob? Okay, discussion. Anybody have any questions or concerns? We've all been through this a few times already. Okay. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, thank you. Okay, item number B, revenue anticipation bylaw number 1114, 2026. Bianca, this is your.
Yep, so this is just an annual bylaw that we put through. It allows us to use our line of credit if we need to draw on any monies before our main source of revenue comes in the beginning of July, which is our property taxes. So standard bylaw, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll read the recommendation. Recommendation that the District of Sicamous revenue anticipation bylaw number 1114, 2026 be adopted this 28th day of January, 2026. Can I have a mover? Ian, seconder Malcolm? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, staff reports. We're going to move on to development permit and development variance permit 1005 and 1010 Riverside Avenue. Nicole, this is you again.
Okay, yes, thank you through the chair. Okay, so this is now the development permit and development variance permit for this property. And for clarification, there's 2 recommendations, 1 staff report. The first recommendation is to authorize the issuance of the development permit for this property. And then the second recommendation is to authorize issuance of the development variance permit, which I will walk through now. Okay, so since the property that we're talking about today is 1010 Riverside Avenue. It's on the west side of Riverside Avenue, and under the OCP, it's designated Commercial Waterfront Town Center. And then on the east side of Riverside Avenue, 1005, it's designated Riverside Transitional. Both are zoned after just tonight, MUR2 seasonal accommodation. So the development permit tonight is for 36 townhomes, a marina office, visitor and boat and trailer parking. I'll go through some of the OCP policies for these for the development permit, sorry. Okay, commercial waterfront town center. So this property actually falls within a few different development permit areas. So considering all of them, this is what we've narrowed it down to. Sheet here. Many papers. Okay, under the commercial waterfront town center OCP, there are general policies including supporting mixed use in the area from residential to marine based land uses, like what you see on Riverside now. Next slide. Also a part of the OCP, 5-meter wide walkway has been provided for and shown on the riparian planting plan, mouthful, on the left-hand side of the screen. Slide. Under Riverside transitional, so now looking on the east side of Riverside, it acts as a transition between what is happening in the town center and the higher density, and then the neighboring medium density, like shown on the right-hand side of this map. Next slide. So all of Sicamous is under multifamily development permit area. So proposals should respond to natural site conditions, consider existing site trees, and blend with existing development without being too uniform. That's coming from the OCP. And then as part of this development permit, on the next slide, thanks, Bianca, the watercourse development permit conditions also being addressed. So an assessment was submitted to the province, and the province has relied on the QEP's findings and allowed the district to proceed with the development permit process. Slide. So in response to the QEP's assessment, the developer has submitted a riparian planting plan, and that moved the walkway further east, away from the waterfront, and that avoids removal of mature trees. And then the walkway aligns with other recent developments and their walkways, and the district is satisfied with that plan. Okay, so form and character, which is the purpose of the development permit. We're looking at a couple conceptual drawings on this slide. Obviously, the final design will come through at the building permit stage. And I just wanted to make note that the developer has designed the utility building that's going to be on the east side of Riverside where the parking is, to replicate the church that was demolished at this site. Its shape and character. That wasn't a requirement of ours, but it's a nice nod to the lot heritage. So there's some conceptual drawings there. Next. So that's the development permit. I'm going to move on to the development variance permit, and there's a bunch of them listed here, but I will go through them. Next. Thanks. Okay. Button, I use transitions. I don't usually do that, Bianca.
Oh.
Okay, and you might have to move that so we can see. So I'm just going to walk through each of the variances. So building massing setback required at 6.81 meters to be reduced to 2 meters along Wet Up Street, and the landscape buffer area from 3 meters to 1.5 meters. So that's that red line shown here. Then the next one. Gonna work. Building massing setback from 6.81 meters to 1.2 meters along Riverside, and the landscape buffer area from 3 meters to 1.2 meters. Reducing the landscape buffer area from 3 meters to 1.5 meters along the southern boundary of 1010 Riverside, so on the west side of Riverside. This is a variance to the subdivision and development servicing bylaw. It's the only variance the developer is proposing. So as part of the review of this proposal, an engineering servicing report was provided to the developer, and they said they're committed to doing everything, including widening, sidewalks, lighting. This is the one variance they would like to request, and instead of doing a full cul-de-sac that's required, they're requesting to do a hammerhead turnaround. Last one, reducing the landscape buffer area. This is on the parking lot side from 3 meters to 0 meters. Should be it. So public input, as part of the development variance permit, letters were issued to neighboring properties, and then we received 5 submissions, and those have been attached to the staff report, so hopefully you had a chance to read through those. I did, and then on the next slide, I just have a response to a few of the outstanding questions. At the Planning and Development Committee meeting, there was discussion about landscaping along Riverside. We didn't want to look at a bunch of empty walls. And so the developer has proposed landscaping on both sides of Riverside. And in particular, where the parking is, there was concern that when you walk by, are you just looking at a fence with parking, or what does it look like? And they proposed landscaping in the front, and then their fence in behind with the gate and then the parking. So that's one note I wanted to make. There's a couple more on there, Bianca. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you. The existing landscaping that's adjacent to 1002 Riverside Avenue is to remain. And so that's on the west side of Riverside Avenue where it abuts the existing condo. So there was a question about some of the cedar hedges. The developers let us know that most of them are on their property, but their plan is to keep them, and they will landscape up to them. And then last on this slide is there's no parking variances proposed with this development. So all of the units have the appropriate amount of parking within the units or on the other side of Riverside Avenue. And then on the next one, just wanted to note that no variance is proposed where the boat and trailer storage is, where it's adjacent to the residential homes. So the developer was mindful of that piece. Just a summary now. So the rezoning, we're now MUR2 seasonal accommodation, that's been adopted, and then 2 recommendations for tonight. One for the development permit, form and character of this, and then one for the development variance permit to the zoning bylaw and the subdivision development servicing bylaw. Should be it.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. We'll read the recommendation and then we'll go into discussion. Recommended that the council authorize the issuance of a development permit number 25 DP 006 for the property legally described as Lot 1, District Lot 425, Kamloops Division, Yale District Plan, KAP 89529, located at 1005 and 1010 Riverside Avenue. And that council authorize issuance of the development variance permit number DV or 25 DVP-012 for the property legal described as Lot 1, District Lot 452, Kamloops Division, Yale District Plan, KAP 89529, located at 1005 and 1010 Riverside Avenue. Can I have a mover? Pam, can I have a seconder? Bob? Discussion. Anybody have any questions? Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanting to clarify, through the chair, Nicole, I was wondering, the hammerhead as opposed to the cul-de-sac, you know, I think Public Works, would probably for maintenance and trailers and boats, snow clearing. What was the rationale for going from cul-de-sac to hammerhead? Was it space, their building, setbacks?
Yeah, that's a good question. Would you mind if I defer to the developer? They're online.
Sure, that would be okay.
Has something?
Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, hi there, can I answer that?
Yeah.
Can I go ahead and answer that? Yeah, so it just provided easier access, we thought, for as opposed to the roundabout to access the marine building and the office there on the corner. It provided more open access with turning into the parking stall there. So we just thought it was easier, more straightforward vehicle access in that area.
Okay, thank you. You good with that, Bob? Okay. Mayor Anderson?
Thank you. Just for clarification, I don't recall, do we have any commercial on the bottom of this at all? Or is it just multifamily?
Go ahead, Nicole.
Chair, no commercial component for this in the residential units. The west side of the lot, closer to the marina, there'll be an office for the marina and the strata.
You got
Okay.
that?
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think at some point we did want to have some commercial along Riverside. I think we had a discussion as council, but if there's no commercial on this one, then I guess we're moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Colleen. I think it was in our OCP that we our last OCP update. And as you kind of recall, we have had no development on Riverside with commercial units on the bottom floor since we implemented that OCP. So we talked about it in planning and with Nicole and the planning and development team, and it'll probably be removed in the new OCP as well. So just to give you an update there. Okay, anybody else have any questions? I just had a couple, just to let everybody know that there is a walkway going in, the 5-meter walkway will be going in, so that's very important. The hammerhead issue that came about, I think that's a little bit of a, I guess it'll finish off the development because the developer's not really responsible for the other side of the street, which is Blue Water Houseboats. And they aren't gonna wanna remove some buildings and other things that are in the way for a roundabout, you know, to do a turnaround there. So I think that's where the hammerhead come from. So it'll actually finish off, at least it'll finish off his side of the street. And you know, down the line, we can turn it into a roundabout later on, but for now, a hammerhead, I think, will suffice. Okay. And I think that's about it that I had. Go ahead, Ian.
I just have a couple of questions since we did receive letters on the variances, and I've been looking at it pretty closely here, and I think you took us through, but I just want to make sure we're being clear here. So if we look at the parking lot side of things, the variance is going to go down to 0 toward Shocker Industry, which is a parking lot in itself, right? Correct? Okay. And then on the other side of that, the landscape buffer is how much?
Through the chair, maybe do you mind if we go back to the
Yeah,
map?
That would be great.
So the proposal for the southern boundary of 1010 Riverside Avenue, which is the west side of Riverside, landscape buffer area from 3 meters to 1.5 meters. And thanks. It's easier to see it.
Which one do you want, Nicole?
Great. Yeah.
A couple more.
So you're talking about the
One
parking
right
lot, yeah.
Yeah. Keep going. It was up one.
Oh,
So
Well, there's a lot of arrows because it was a transitional slide, but.
Isn't that the one?
Yes.
that the
I
one?
think that is the
I
one.
think that's the one you're looking for.
Do you mind it? Can you put it back into slideshow? And then
Yeah.
see, and then hit back. I'm sorry, forward. There we go. One more. In there. There we go.
What?
That's it.
Yes, there you go.
That's it.
That's what you're talking about for that side.
Well, I wanted
think
to
it-
talk about that too, but
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about
The other side.
landscape on.
Side is.
Yeah,
That one?
Yeah.
that's 0. What's the other one close to the home? So 6 meters. Okay, perfect. And then I guess going back to what you just had that on, not that one, but the one on the other side. So there's a road buffer there as well, right? And that is what, about 4 meters?
Through the chair, I believe it's gotta be around 6.
6.
Yeah, and so we have the development to the south, then they have their setback.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the cedar hedges to remain, and then they're gonna landscape up to the hedges, then have their internal access route, then a little tiny front yard there, and
Yeah.
then the home begins.
Okay.
So I would say we don't have a concern with the setback between buildings.
Right.
It's really the landscape buffer between the properties.
Correct. And
Ready?
sorry, yeah. And then at the front, where we get to the 1.2 meter setback, because it's a little bit,
Mhm.
it's just in terms of the design, right? Because they're on an angle. So am I to understand the 1.2 meter setback is only where it juts out in that corner?
Through the chair, yeah, so you can see in this drawing that where the corner
Right.
is closest to Riverside Avenue, that's as close as they're gonna get, and that's at the 1.2. And I should say, the developer has asked for 1.2. It doesn't mean it's up to 1.2, so it could be less than that once they start getting their building designs in. So
Correct.
as you know, this is to be comfortable, 1.2 at most.
But that's where the corner is, and then it kind of gradually goes back from that. So the buffer, depending, could be a little bit larger at obviously the end of the building.
Yeah, through the chair, you can kind of see it in this drawing. Anything that's green along Riverside will be landscaped.
Okay.
So landscaped up and around the building and then around the corner onto Wet Up Street.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Bob.
1.2 meters is almost 4 feet. And that's the minimum, right? And it could be better than that, but that's the maximum allowable. So 4 feet is, I'm old school, so I'm trying to picture that. So 1.2 meters, 4 feet.
More or less, yeah.
Correct. Okay. Anybody else? Nicole, I just had a question on the Riverside Avenue, facing Riverside Avenue. Your landscape plans that you had in this presentation, I didn't receive them in our package, but they're a little bit more detailed and do you have one of the Riverside Avenue one facing the buildings? Because I know the one we have is, it's just more of an artist rendering, but the one you showed on there actually looked like a landscape plan. It was on,
Which one are we talking about?
it was the one facing Riverside, on the west side.
Conceptual drawings, those ones there?
Anyways, I just, for further, I mean, I think it's very important that, when we get into variances, that developers provide, something more, better quality, so we can actually see what it'll look like from Riverside. So I know, Brian produced a fairly good letter and it's just, I did notice some of your plans here were landscape plans. They look like landscape plans and we didn't get those in our package. So I just thought I'd make note of that. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Siobhan, go ahead.
Yes, through the chair. Just one of the things I haven't seen, which I assume is completely fine, but before we always had approved by our fire chief too. So I'm assuming all the variances are not gonna affect the fire trucks getting through or other buildings and all that good stuff. We're talking your shrubs. I know they exist now, but I know in the past that has been an issue with our past chiefs. So I'm just wondering, do we still get approval from them? And this is all up to those guys are happy over the fire department.
Yeah.
Nicole or Dean?
Yeah, good thing. Thank you, Chair. So June and I met with the fire chief and walked through this development with him. And so looked at the internal access road width, the hammerhead turnaround. Yeah, cedar hedges aren't generally supported, but if they're in good health, not going to request that they get removed. In terms of emergency response, he reviewed the hydrant locations and felt that if there was an incident along here, he knew that he was going to be using anything along Riverside. So yeah, we didn't get a formal written response back from the fire chief, but we had a really good meeting and made sure that he understood how this would operate and in general didn't have any concerns. He'll be involved again at the building permit stage as well.
Thank you, Nicole. Anything else, Siobhan? No? Okay, any other questions or concerns? I'll call the questions. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, item number B, application to the Economic Opportunity Fund for Owlhead Bike Park. Bianca, this is yours.
So this is to ask for a resolution. So this is for our Owlhead Mountain Bike Park through the CSRD EOF, which we've had a nice long discussion about last week. So this is through the Trail Alliance. They did our phase 1 of Owlhead. This would be the second phase, which is a bit of a larger phase of $280,000. They did a full presentation back in October, and then this is just the formal resolution in order to use EOF funds. I did some research on it. So EFF funds, the balance right now in that fund is $860,000 of unspent, not committed. And annually, about $300,000 gets added to that fund. So currently we had two resolutions at our last meeting to the tune of 110,000. Adding this 280 would be about 390,000. So the full amount going in this year would be spent, and the 90 of last year's, of which 2025 there was no approvals for any EOF. So from like a year-to-year basis, we haven't even used the 2 years in the last two. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bianca. I'll read the recommendation. The recommendation that the District of Sycamoose authorize the use of the Sycamoose and Area E Economic Opportunity Fund in the amount of $280,000 for the Owlhead Mountain Bike Park project through the Shuswap Trail Lines. May I have a mover? Malcolm, seconder, Bob? Discussion. Anybody have any? Malcolm, go ahead, and then Bob.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah, a question about the electoral area E. We need their permission to use those funds, so we don't really have the authority to pass a resolution without area E's permission, I think, or maybe somebody could explain that, Dean or someone.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bianca.
So the application has gone through CSRD. We've actually had a few more meetings than CSRD has recently. So this one will be going to CSRD at a future board meeting. We need resolutions from both boards in order to pass it.
Okay, you got that, Malcolm?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Go ahead there, Bob.
Hi, just a couple of comments through the chair. We've been planning this for a long time and I'm really excited about this. I'm going to vote yes on it. And, you know, it's been proven across BC that, you know, mountain towns, like Golden, Revelstoke, Fernie, Cumberland, the trails are a major draw for people that have really built up the town. So this is a really important project for Sycamoose.
Thank you, Bob. Go ahead, Mayor Anderson, and then Siobhan. Oh,
Well, I actually didn't have my hand up, but seeing as how you asked me, why waste an opportunity is what I say. Do you know what? I'm going to vote in favor of this. I do see Revi and Sycamoose both growing in this direction. And I think it would be very beneficial for us to embrace, especially since we have the ferry and the rail trail. And it's just becoming a great adventure. Like Sycamoose is a great adventure. So I cannot see any downside to this. So I fully support it.
thank you, Colleen. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Just more of a question on the EOF funds. If this passes, how long do they have to use it? Is there a deadline on it, or it can sit for a while, or how does that work?
Bianca?
Yeah, there isn't really like a deadline to use it. There's some, for example, like the Malaqua Early Learning that was approved for these funds. They use it over time. This one, Shuswap Trail Alliance is gearing up and ready to go on this one, so I think it's gonna be spent right away. They're ready to go on phase 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's awesome. I think this is a great opportunity for us.
Okay, great. Thanks, Siobhan. Ian?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. We've done phase 1. We have to do phase 2. It's kind of on brand and on point. I mean, I'll just reiterate what I say on EOF funds. We had this discussion. It's just that it'd be nice. Maybe it's a job for the next council after the election is just try to sketch out, plan out a little bit more about what ideally we'd like EOF funds to go and some of the major projects. I just think we can be a little bit more strategic thinking on it. Not that this isn't, and this was thought out, but just something to consider going forward. And I know staff is working on that, but certainly this is a big piece of what I think successive councils have been working towards, and this will be another great project for us to do.
Great. Pam, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, I think this is just a great example of how we're developing and really doing a complete picture of recreation. We've got water naturally. We've got trail on the other side of the water. And now we're doing the mountain in behind, and it's like a complete development. So I think it's wonderful.
Great, thank you. Yeah, in closing, I remember going up there with Joe McCullough and Corbin Semp, and this black trail that they're gonna install actually goes right to that big meadow up at the top there. And it's for them to do the black trail and the blue trail. And it also enhances the snowmobile club because they're gonna upgrade the parking lot at 2K, which could be used in the winter months as well. It's really it's a really good project for our off season because it helps our off season, especially our shoulder season in the fall and the spring for mountain biking. So yeah, no, it's going to be a great project. Any other comments? No? Well, I'll call the questions. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. Item number C, 2026 Silga Community Excellence Awards. A resolution and nominations. Shauna, that's you.
Thank you, through the chair. It's that time of year again. We have the Southern Interior Local Government Association, the AGM and convention coming up. It's in Revelstoke this year from April 29th to May 2nd. And it's time they put out a call for Community Excellence Awards, resolutions, as well as any nominations for anybody who's interested in being a part of the executive for Silga. So the discussion today is just surrounding the possibility of Community Excellence Awards. I just wanted to speak to, I think in 2024, it had been discussed, or maybe it was even in 2023, that with regards to the community health center, under the social responsibility category, that maybe we wanted to toot our own horn a little bit and put ourselves forth. Council put forth the community health center for a nomination, and it was deferred to bring it forth when the center was actually operational and open. So it's operational and open. So there's that consideration that you may want to bring that forth. Or put forth the nomination for that, as well as a discussion surrounding what resolutions you, if any, you want to bring forward. We would look at drafting resolutions based on discussion today and then bringing those resolutions back to council at the February 11th council meeting for final approval before submission, which submission is February 20th. Is the submission deadline for Silga. So last year we brought forward 3 resolutions. 2 of the resolutions were brought forth to UBCM, and then we took forth another resolution directly to UBCM, but that one wasn't taken forth to Silga. So if you have any questions of what we brought forth last year, I can talk about that. Other than that, I think that the discussion is open for council.
Okay. I'll read the recommendation first and we'll see if we get a first and seconder. Recommended that the staff be directed to draft resolutions in response to the 2026 call of resolutions for the Southern Interior Local Government Association. And I have a mover. Ian, seconder Pam. Okay, discussion. Anybody have any ideas? Go ahead, Ian.
Well, I guess now that we directed staff to do resolutions, we got to give them some ideas on what those would be. So I certainly like Shauna's idea to put forward the healthcare center for an excellence award. I think it is time, just based on what we've gotten feedback from on the ministerial visit we did. It was incredibly impressive to her. But it also kind of reminded us that, hey, we actually haven't really told the story about this center and how it came into being and how it is becoming a very important centerpiece for the community. So I think the time is right to put that forward for an excellence award. In terms of resolution, we've done quite a few, and some of the ones that we've done in the past, I think, are still. We might not have gotten enough movement on them from the province. And I just wonder if we should be trying to be the squeaky wheel and reintroducing some of those to amplify it, or come up with a totally different tact on them. We had one last year, which I think is still really important is the economic resiliency of small communities that are faced with, increasing forest fire risk and just disasters in general. And I think maybe doing something off of that in terms of where there's much more provincial support to help small communities weather that is important for a town like Sycamoose. We certainly saw what happened in Lytton. That town is still not put back together. It's my worst nightmare that ever happens here or even to part of the town. And I wonder if we should be developing a resolution around that again, to amplify that, because I view that as one of the most significant risks to Sycamoose if we ever have one of those catastrophic events, and we almost did in 2021. We kind of got out of that with the smallest of margins. How would we go about rebuilding, and what are the challenges? And I think there's a lot of challenges to do that, and that's mostly provincially made.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Pam, you had your hand up?
Well, yeah, I did. I guess I was thinking about a resolution to do with water, with the lake protection. But I don't know if we're ready for that, are we, Dean? Because we were going to meet and again and talk about what that would look like in terms of requesting. Could we do a resolution at this point in terms of stepping up the protection for water quality from invasive species and that kind of thing through checkpoints? Is that something that we could take?
Go ahead, dear Dean.
I mean, last year we did have a series of resolutions that actually council had spent quite some time developing, well ahead of time. So this year we don't kind of have that piece. Being back in last year's resolutions, we don't have any sort of direction from council. It certainly can be if you're wanting one for water quality.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that. That would be as much as you need to put to us at this point. We would meet with you and we would draft it. As Charlotte has indicated, staff would go away, figure out the components, meet with you to sort of discuss the parameters, create the resolution, then it comes back for council to endorse to go forward. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Same with yours, Councillor Bailey. If you want to reiterate a previous resolution, that can be done as well. And that's fine as well. So either one of those options. We don't need a lot of details. We just need what the direction is from council and what you would like us to draft resolutions on. There is a fair amount of work to draft these because they have very specific language. So if staff are going to do it, we know it has to be something you truly want to bring forward, and we'll do up the drafts and you guys can review them.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Dean. Siobhan and then Malcolm. And Colleen.
Yeah, I think two things that are pretty important to me are like working with the province with the backcountry, and I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we keep talking about shoulder season and making sure that we have access. We haven't talked about that for a little bit, but with logging roads being decommissioned and all that thing, and especially when you look at the snow this time of year and a lot of the cancellations that are happening around town because the sledding's not what people are expecting. I think it would be good to maybe take a look at working on the shoulder season and the ATV things and that kind of angle. And then the other one, of course, like Todd brought up, was our foreshore. I think we absolutely need to keep hammering away that it's really important to lake towns that we've got the government working with us and we're moving forward at a quicker pace than we are. And then third, I agree with Ian. I think we need to talk about our medical center, not just to blow our own horn, but I think when you start doing a bunch of reading about rural health, what we've done here is like we're leading. And I don't think all communities have thought about what we're doing. And not only have we done it well, but we should get these models out to other rural communities so they can keep their doctors and promote healthcare within BC and Canada.
Okay, thank you, Siobhan. Malcolm and then Colleen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just what Councillor Rich just mentioned. I think we should put forward a resolution about our community health center it's not only just a community health center, it's also doubles as our community center. And, you know, some background about way back when 2018 or sooner, when we actually bought the land for it. The fact that we had an Indigenous architect, Douglas Cardinal, design the building. I think we should move that forward and we have our medical office assistants, which are DOS staff working in the building, which is another model that other communities are following. And the doctor split, we do a 80-20 split instead of a 70-30 split as a recruitment tool. I think we should all put that into a package as part of a community excellence for our community health center, which, like I said, doubles as a community center as well.
Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Go ahead there, Colleen.
Hey, thank you. I just listening to everyone and trying to package this all up and to Ian's point and to Shauna's point, yes, I agree. Let's toot our horn. Let's share our healthcare success story. And I know that each of us does that every time we go out and every time we're talking to a minister, every time we're talking to people or other MLAs or councils, we talk about our healthcare center. So I agree with that. As far to Pam's point about water and invasive species, I think we should look at taking it federally. I think we should go to SILGA requesting support to take this federally as opposed to provincially. Federally, we can start putting some space and border or some control in other provinces. Working on it provincially is not getting us where we want to be. So I would take that, Dean, and I would probably go more federal than provincial. To Todd's point this afternoon in resolutions for foreshore tenure, I would ask that there be a minimum time on foreshore leases. You cannot leave these for 8 years. They're causing serious financial hardships for businesses that can't get a mortgage or financing. So I think we need to pull back on how long they can take and put pressure on the province to make those decisions. So we need to somehow pack that into a sense of emergency with a deadline on it and take that to SILGA and move that stuff forward. The other thing that I'm leaning towards and council support, I hope, is the transparency with the provincial government regarding any negotiations that directly impact the taxpayers and landowners in Sekamus, in the province. I think that we need more transparency. I've got people phoning me going, am I going to own my property? So I don't know if this resolution goes towards UNDRIP, but it definitely should go towards the provincial government right now, not being transparent, sterilizing BC right now because no one wants to develop in BC, and also harming our economy based on their non-transparent decisions. So I don't know how to package that exactly, but I would like more transparency from this government, more public consultation. I see that they've paused the Heritage Act right now, which I'm grateful for because they were moving forward at a pace that would have impacted all of us and added more to the situation that we're already in. So I don't know what that looks like. I guess more transparency, more consultation, less direct decisions. Ian, you can probably add to this or if you'd like, but those are my thoughts about everything that we're kind of talking about right now.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. Bob and then Ian.
Yeah, I want to just echo the mayor's idea for a serious motion about the foreshore leases. And then the reason that I would like to, you don't usually want to toot your own horn, but the reason I want to do the medical story for us is that because Malcolm and I were at UBCM at a big forum with like hundreds of people from all over BC from small towns that were freaking out about what they're going to do about their medical system. So I want to do this so that our story is told so that those small towns can see that there's a way. And when they hear our story and they can see how exciting it is, that's what I want them to be able to hear the story about. I want that reason for nominating ourselves for this.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Okay, Ian, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is a really good discussion. There's some really good elements here that, and I mean, my suggestion of rehashing probably is a pretty dumb suggestion, actually, now that I come to think of it, because we've already passed those motions and it's already there. But I see a couple of themes here, right? We're talking about foreshore and we're talking about access to backcountry. Really what we're talking about is that public land kind of should be used for public good. And I wonder if we should be packaging both of them into a resolution where we want access to the backcountry and we need timely decisions on foreshore use because of businesses and everything else. Maybe it doesn't go together. Maybe they have to be two separate things, but I totally agree about the foreshore lease. Now that some of these things have been sitting in provincial departments for decades or over a decade, it's ridiculous. Businesses can't fund themselves or get mortgages. That has to be addressed. There's really no reason why a government department should have an application for any more than, personally, I think 6 months. But I mean, if you haven't done or moved on those applications in over a decade, well, you're just ignoring them. Like, you're not working on them. It's total BS that they're still processing them. They're literally sitting there for some reason. Now, do we know what that reason is? No, because they don't say. So I think there's definitely something there. And if they don't want to approve the foreshore, then they should say why, and very clearly, especially to business owners that have often in these marinas millions, if not tens of millions of dollars lined up in capital. So it's not for them. But I also think, Siobhan's right, access to the backcountry, it's critical for our town and our town economy. And that would be a very good resolution as well. And certainly in terms of the mayor touched on was First Nation, negotiations and private and public property and all of those things are very timely. How we could package that, I think, is in a way that I think a year ago, if we were talking about how First Nations and municipal governments or provincial governments were interacting, it was very different than what we are now. There's a heightened degree of public anger and frustration around a lot of these negotiations. There's a lot of confusion. People don't know what recent court decisions are meaning on a number of different fronts. The government has recently had another setback where they said UNDRIP shouldn't be interpreted one way, but the court said, no, that's the way we are going to interpret it. So there's question marks around all of this. And I think the end result has been an incredible souring of public sentiment around it, which is on its face not tenable. I mean, you can't have that level of atmosphere of where people who have private property are questioning whether it's potentially still theirs, because a court decision could bestow Aboriginal title on it. So this is something municipal governments, I do think, need to get into and help clarify the situation, because where there's no clarity, there's friction and there's misunderstanding. And I think that's where the province is at this point. And I don't know quite how to do that, but is it a worthy resolution for municipalities to consider? 100%. Because we're all kind of part of this whole ecosystem of government, and we're trying to, I think, navigate the evolution of some of these rights that weren't necessarily around 20 years ago, but that are now. But we're trying to do it in a way that balances our constituents with what the courts are doing and the provincial government is doing. And it's creating confusion, and it's actually done a lot of damage, I think. So the more that we can help increase understanding in this direction, I think the better it would be. Now, how we do that, we might need to workshop that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ian. I'll just round off my comments and then I'll go to Sean and Dean. I agree on everybody's input. I mean, they're all very, very important and I agree 100%. And I just wanted to update you on I've been attending a lot of the ATV BC Zoom meetings that they've been having. They had another one this morning. A lot of small communities, some that have lost their logging mills, sawmills. And they're really turning to the government to try to resurrect the bylaw 121, which was, it went to UBCM back in 2019. And then with COVID, it kind of fell off the wheels and never got reignited. But they want to actually rewrite that more for rural communities because there's such a big economic development for the shoulder seasons and for these small communities that have lost their mills and are running out of, they're starting to dry up. And so they're putting these bylaws in place. And I know we have our own little bylaw. We have off-road vehicles that we have 32 of them, I think, that are operating on the streets now. And we haven't had any issues, but it sure extends the season. And, Murray's starting to get along with it. Like he's starting to embrace it, actually.
Yeah.
And so it's something that, we could add to on a resolution, especially with the backcountry, because it's so important to our small community for economic development. Anyways, I'll just close on that. And Shauna and Dean, you guys have something you want to say?
I just wanted to thank you through the chair. I just wanted to sort of go back to what Councillor Bailey had said. In 2024, yes, we had done the economic resiliency for tourism dependent communities, mostly surrounding around wildfire. That was endorsed by SILGA, and then it was also endorsed by UBCM. And then second to that, talking about the foreshores, riparian areas. Last year, we had put forth a resolution for calling for better provincial oversight or the timelines and the hardships that was causing for communities and property owners. That also was endorsed by both SILGA and UBCM. So I guess I'll leave it to Dean and we'll talk about. So I think the way that you guys are looking at taking those that have already been endorsed and maybe the wrapping, especially when it comes to the foreshore stuff, into this public land used for public good. That was a good, and what that looks like. So I'll pass it over to Dean.
Thank you, Sean. Chair, I think the two resolutions would be better to be separate because they're very different ministries and very different legislative components and very different partners. So people, we're going to have interest in the foreshore. We're a unique community. We're not going to have necessarily as strong an interest in the public access to lands. So I think two separate resolutions I would recommend to council would be better because you're going to have different partners and different parameters. I think what I'm hearing is a commitment to timelines from the province on the foreshore leases and applications. Last year we went forward and we said we want timelines. We want a commitment from the province and the minister on the timelines. Like that hasn't come at this point. So I think what I heard was you would like to see us make an application for an award. I think there's good value. I think there's a lot of opportunity for other communities to look at the great things that Sicamous has done. I think it'll also help Sicamous and some of the other applications for us to showcase ourselves a little bit. We saw that when the minister was here. So I think there's more opportunity to do that. Let's not be too modest. Let's be proud of what we've done. I think it's great that we want to make that application. I heard 4 resolutions, one on water quality, which related to the mussels and just expanding that, seeking federal, a resolution to go forward for the federal government to take action on it. One on foreshore and a commitment to timelines. A third one on public lands and access to lands. This is related to ranch lands as well as lands above. And then one on transparency of governance. And that would be kind of the framework I think that we're reaching up for, is more transparency from the provincial government on land issues within BC and sharing that information with local governments. So those are the 4 resolutions that I've heard. Please tell me if I've missed anything or if there's something you want to add to those four. And the application is kind of a fifth item. It's a separate one, so we'll make that application. And the final one would be, does anybody want to put forward their name to run for Silga? You're bored and you want to be a part of Silga.
I don't see any hands. But,
Could I just
go ahead.
point out, I do notice that it's getting more and more passive aggressive on how it's being written. Since being elected in 2022, no council member has submitted a nomination to serve on Silga executive. Hint, hint. Well, sorry about that, but I'm definitely not doing it, but I don't know if somebody else wants to. But I did laugh at that line. That was well done.
Thanks, Ian. Dean, can you just reconfirm, do we want to say anything about the Off-Road Vehicle Act or anything? Is that going to be part of the forestry one?
About the public lands?
Yeah.
The public lands one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious. That's good.
That the question was more around separating the foreshore or just talk to public lands altogether. I think the foreshore and the water component is so different and how it's handled by the province, as well as how it's been spoken to in the past.
Yeah.
I think they're very different issues, and I think there's different partners. Penticton, Kelowna, Lake Country, Peachland, all those communities are going to be interested in the foreshore. They're not going to be as interested in the public lands piece. So I think by putting them together, we'll do a disservice for having as many communities support what we're trying to do.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right, thank you very much. I think we got your marching orders. Everybody's good with that? Can I have we have a motion, I have a seconder?
Good with that.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. All right, moving along to number 7, CAO report. Ian, that's you.
That is me. This is our second in our series of monthly reports. The last one was last November. It's December, and we got a number of things going on in the community. Exciting to see, and gave a little bit of an update to council on a few of those items. One of the more prominent ones that we are watching is 425 Main Street with the 5-story building that's going up. 4th floor, they just put the floor on the 5th floor. So the ground roof trusses of the 4th floor are on now, which is also the floor for the 5th floor. So we're expecting the 5th floor is on site now. We expect the walls to go up. Then the roof trusses will go up and then the crane will come off. So the crane is there to get those last pieces in place. Then the crane will come back. They'll be finished the framing. They're already polying the window components on the 2nd and 3rd floor. They'll get it all closed up so it's climate controlled. They'll begin work on the exterior to finish it. And then the windows go in and we have a facade, and it'll sit like that from the outside, from us driving by the street, will look like not much is happening. This is where building construction kind of shifts from being the visible part to the invisible part.
Yeah.
All the electrical, all the plumbing, all the rough-ins of that piece have to take place. We don't get to see that from the street. So the exciting part from the street is nearing completion, which is nice to see. But then it's going to look like nothing's happening for a while, but the same number, if not more, people are going to be working on it, but you just won't see them working as much. So that's exciting to see. As Nicole's mentioned, we've got a number of projects coming through that are going to go through application process. We'll see construction on those pieces. Staff did a great job. We've had a light snow winter, so our public works team hasn't had a lot of snow removal work yet. On some wood, but we hope to see snow in the hills, not so much in town for our public works team. So lots of exciting things are going on in the community. Lots of exciting things are coming down the line. I think 2026 is going to be a great year. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Dean? No? All right, moving right along. Correspondence, number 8. Everybody had a look at the correspondence. Anybody want to comment on any of that? I don't see anybody with their hand up. Oh, go ahead there, Shauna.
If nobody from, thank you through the chair, if nobody from council, just a couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention. First, there's the information in there from Silga with regards to timelines on when we submit stuff. We've just had a fairly robust conversation on that. Secondly, there is a request for a proxy for BC Heritage Week. And I think that Campton is planning, our communications is planning some communications along that line. And then if we're wanting to actually declare and proclaim that BC Heritage Week, that is for council to to do.
Go ahead, Darian.
I think we have a proclamation procedure. So is that in that package asking for it? Because we do ask for someone to do it locally based and bring forward
Mhm.
that proposal. I think that's what council decided on when we did that policy. So is that part of this package or will that be coming?
We can bring it forward. And so, sorry, through the chair, when it comes to some of the requests with regards to the proclamation, it just has to enhance our culture or is somebody bringing it up? Okay, that's maybe yeah, if you could bring it up, Bianca. Just what the actual said, Paul. So it just says the cause of the event must contribute to the economic and social and or cultural fabric of the district. It's BC Heritage Week. And then it talks about repeat requests. This is out of our policy that we do have in place with regards to the proclamation criteria. And then, yeah, it just says that we will not be issued for matters, and the different matters that we would not issue a proclamation for.
You good with that, Ian?
No, I'm a little confused now. So basically, we don't need somebody to come forward and ask for this proclamation locally?
Nope, not for the proclamation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion for that? Bob? Seconder? Adam?
Okay, what's the motion though?
That we go ahead.
That the district supports proclamation for the BC Heritage Week from, sorry, I don't have the dates right in front of me. Here we go, February 16th to 22nd.
Okay, any discussion on that? Can't see any hands up there.
Oh,
Mayor Anderson and Siobhan. Go ahead, Colleen.
Thanks. I'm having issues with my hand tonight. Okay, so I'm not certain what we're doing here. I thought don't we already have like a process for all of this that we go through? So what are we doing right now? Sorry. Thanks.
Okay, Donna will explain it one more time.
Okay, so we have a request process, and then we have that they come forth and that all of the information that we would require within our request form. And then it goes, upon receiving the request, it goes through the corporate officer, and then it comes through to council for consideration. And the criteria for a proclamation is that the cause or event must contribute to the economic, social, and cultural fabric of the district. And then it goes on to speak about repeat requests must be submitted on an annual basis. An organization may only request one proclamation per calendar year, and that organizations do not have exclusive rights to the day, week, or month being proclaimed. And proclamations on similar topics will be issued on a first come, first served basis, and that the district will not incur any expenses related to advertising, promotion of the proclamation, and recipients are responsible for the promotion of the proclamation, organization, or related activities for all associated costs. And then there's a list of where we would not issue a proclamation.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good with that, Colleen?
Yeah, I am. Thanks.
Okay. Go ahead, Siobhan, and then Dean.
Yeah, through the chair. I think where the confusion is we talked about the flag, and that was at the rail trail meeting at the senior center. So I think some of us had a lot of other things going on, but that's where it has to be, I believe, and maybe Shauna can correct me if I'm wrong. That's where it has to be locally sponsored. My concern with this one, and I'm not against it, like I love the whole heritage thing, but we proclaim it, but we don't have restaurants who are on board, or, it's like, I'm not sure if anybody in the community is, I mean, if one of the restaurants came through and said, hey, let's do a challenge or talk about this, or the chamber was doing a history thing, but just to declare it, and then it's kind of like dead water, right? Like there's not anybody picking it up that I can see, and I could be completely wrong on that. But so I think for me, that's the concern. I'm not against Heritage Week. I just don't know if it's applicable to our town if we say, hey, it's BC Heritage Week, but Sycamoose isn't doing anything.
Okay, thanks, Siobhan. Dean, go ahead.
This is Heritage BC is a provincial agency that this is done and funded by the provincial government. So there isn't a need for us to do any or spend any money on it, but it is acknowledgement of the week. There is a poster that comes out to municipalities. It's just to promote the idea of heritage in discussion throughout BC. So the proclamation would just simply be a recognition that there is a provincial Heritage Week. It's acknowledging it. It's keeping it in the forefront. Heritage BC is a way for us to pursue heritage interests and grants in the future. So it's not a bad thing for the community to do. I think it just brings a focus on heritage. Like it's mentioned in our policy, we're not incurring any cost. There's no obligation for us to do anything. It'd be really nice to see things go on. Some communities do have activities that are associated with Heritage Week. We'd love to see that come out of the organics of the community and happen. And hopefully that does in the future. And by promoting heritage in our community, maybe that's what we'll see.
Thank you, Dean. Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against proclaiming Heritage Weeks, but I'm just reading through the letter. I mean, it's a generic form letter that gets sent to us. We don't have like a local champion that says, hey, I really want to do something around Heritage Week, but proclaim it. So we proclaim it, but we don't do anything about it, right? That's, I think, why I'm having a little difficulty with this, because we get this quite often. Like we get this from a lot of groups, like proclaim this, proclaim that, but there isn't actually a local person championing it, right? And I thought that's kind of what we covered once in our policy, but obviously we didn't. But I wonder if that's what we should be requiring when we do a proclamation, that even if there's a resident say, hey, I want to take this on, I want to do it as a project, but I want you guys to recognize it, then rather than have a form letter and say, yeah, okay, we'll do that week, right? It feels kind of like a disconnect from the community. And I mean, this letter, it's fine, it comes from the executive director based in Vancouver, but it's not like we have a local group that's saying, hey, I want to do something around this. That's all.
Ian, can I just make a recommendation? We have a mover and a seconder.
Oh, I see.
And we're discussing it, but, I see where you're coming from. Maybe we vote on this, but after we go through our bylaw again and revise it to have a local, instead of just somebody
sponsoring it. Yeah.
Somebody sponsor it locally, right? And that we just have to change our bylaw. Okay, a little more discussion. Pam, go ahead.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I feel like we should support heritage just in general. We should support it and encourage our community to do a project. If we don't support this, then that's the first step. We need to commit ourselves to supporting the heritage of this community and area. And then we need to sort of encourage the community to come up with ideas to follow that support. So I kind of approach it differently, but that's my opinion.
Thanks, Pam. Bob?
I'm on board with Pam on this one because our museum has the poster on their door and it's supposed to celebrate local history. And so I think we should recommend that staff get our communications person to make a couple posts about local history and celebrate Heritage Week and put the poster up and maybe put a few facts about Sycamoose and tell people to go check out some of these amazing signs we have throughout town to look at local history.
Okay. Bob? All right, Dean?
Just one comment. So we did hear from Sheila today from our Chamber of Commerce, and they had two sign initiatives which are directly related to heritage in the community. So there is a direct connection. There is things directly happening in our community
Yeah.
that are a part of the same ministry, the same group. These are where the grants came from for the chamber. So this does have a connection to our community. And as noted, we have a museum. We want to steer people to learn more about Sycamore,
Yeah.
both people who live here now and also people that are visiting.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean. We have, we got another.
Well, I just maybe, I don't need to add it on to the motion, but I do think we should take a look at the policy again. Nothing wrong with BC Heritage, nothing wrong with any number of these weeks. I just would like to see a local champion touch it, whether that's the museum, I mean, it could be anything, right? But then I think that it has a little bit more oomph, it has a little bit more follow through, and maybe there could be something more than just us proclaiming it, right? That's my only thing.
Okay, thanks, Dean. Go ahead, Dean.
I can make a request. So just for the simplicity of Shauna with the corporate officer piece of what we're doing, can we make this resolution and then introduce a second resolution asking staff to review our policy and come back at a committee of the whole meeting for some further discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a mover. Oh, we got Siobhan there. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Hi, sorry about that, through the chair. Yeah, and again, this is called to stir the pot. It's not about heritage in Sycamore, it's about food heritage. And if we had restaurants or the museum was baking bread in an old oven or something like that, then I would be in support of this. So I hear someone talking.
Sorry, rudely.
I just, for me, I would like someone in the community backing it. Because if I saw that poster or we're promoting it, I would go, oh, where can I go do that? Like Deb does Fungi Fest and then everybody does mushrooms. So if we're doing stir the pot, is there a cooking class? Is there restaurants picking up on this? And we don't have that I know of. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure, but from what I've read, I don't see anybody picking that up within our community.
Okay, thanks, Siobhan. Okay, go ahead, Bianca. One more comment before we vote.
I was just looking up if BC has already proclaimed the day, and they have. So I don't know if we have to proclaim the day per our policy. So, yeah.
Well, I have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Let's move on and carry on. Okay, I have a first and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Siobhan is opposed. Okay, Siobhan, just to throw in. Okay, we know why your reason. Oh, is Ian?
No, I just want to make a motion.
Okay, or you want to make a second motion?
That's right. Yeah, I want to take a motion that we take a look at our proclamation policy with an aim to having a local champion when we proclaim a week or day or whatever, right? That there's a local sponsor for it.
Ian?
And staff can investigate that however.
I'll just make a really quick comment on that. There's a form that gets completed, and in there it asks if there's somebody local, but it's not a part of our actual policy for criteria. So definitely something that we need to look at because there's a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Shauna.
is that clear?
Okay, can I have a mover on Ian's motion?
Well, I'll move it.
Okay, Ian's moving it. Seconder is Colleen. Any discussion? Ma'am, go ahead.
I don't know that I want to support it, simply because I think that heritage is much bigger than just, it's council's responsibility really to make sure we support heritage of this community, and we're leaders, and to be leaders.
Yeah.
To me, we need to support.
Yeah, well, we do have the first motion and we are supporting NBC Heritage Week.
Yeah.
The second motion is just to look at our property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay.
We're gonna look at it. Staff's gonna bring it back to council.
We're just
at another
look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree to do that.
Okay. Dean, you had one, no, you're good? So we're all in favor there? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Yeah, thank you. Wow. Let me move right along.
That was more than I thought.
Committee and regional district reports, internal committees, planning and development committee adopted minutes. Anybody have any comments on that? No? Moving right along, external committees, no information there. Last item is Columbia Shuswap Regional District, regular board meeting, December 11th, 2025. Anybody have any comments on that? No, everybody looks like everybody's good there. All right, moving along to public input. We have a few people in the gallery and I'm not sure if we have anybody online. Does anybody have any public input? Want to say anything?
I'd like to ask, I'm sorry.
Can I get you to just to step up to the microphone and also just state your name and address for the record?
And I'd like to ask the district to turn the roundabout lights green for Green Shirt Day for organ donation awareness and honoring the victims of the Humboldt Broncos tragedy.
Okay.
So they declare April's the whole month. I think April 7th is the specific day for organ donation awareness.
Okay, and what date was that again?
April 7th.
Oh, we have lots of time, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So would we staff bring that back to us?
So if you would kindly just provide your name and your phone number to Shauna,
Sure.
and we will reach out to you to get the information.
I usually send it to Ian.
So Ian or Shauna would then turn around and give it to Shauna, so we can just skip that process.
Thank you very much. Yeah, great cause, you bet. Anybody else? I'll get you to stand up to the microphone and state your name and address, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marcia Noss, number 43, 219 Temple Street. I want to know now, is the parking lot against the condominiums on Temple?
Temple Street.
Yeah. Like,
Okay,
according to your map, it looked like the parking lot was on Shuswap Lane. Is the parking lot on Shuswap Lane?
no, the parking lot here is across the street. So you know where the old church was?
Yeah,
It's not on Temple. And
it's on, yeah, but it backs on to Shuswap Lane. That's what I mean?
is it back onto Shuswap Lane?
Yes.
I'd have to just have a quick look at our mapping.
And is that, oh, have a look at your map.
Can you bring that up?
But I want to know for sure.
Well, I don't think so.
I'm just gonna bring a map up so we can look.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
Yeah.
It goes there, yeah. I guess you mean at the back of the lot.
You can just see Shuswap Lane.
Yeah, it,
So that part is the parking lot, is it?
yes, it is.
Okay, and it's a single story?
There's no building on it at all. It's just a parking lot.
Okay, and is the vegetation at the edge between the condominiums and the end of that staying?
There's vegetation on the north side. Is there any cedars?
Is the vegetation that is, oops,
Against Shuswap Villas?
yeah, is it staying?
It does, it did show some vegetation there. Can you zoom in that?
I can see it on your map, but is it staying?
Well,
Yeah, I think.
Nicole, can you answer that?
Well, through the chair, landscaping is required on that end. They haven't requested any variances on that eastern property line.
So it is requested, landscaping is requested on that. And they,
Will not be the original landscaping I'm asking? I'm just wondering, because we have some really mature trees on that piece of property that actually should stay.
along the fence line?
Not be taken down. Because what we're happening in this town, if you pay attention even on Main Street, our old trees are being cut down. And that is not right. I mean, you're making this community nothing but cement. And I think we need to have a little bit more planning on just the overall look of it.
Good point. Good points. We could have Nicole mention it to the developer and work with the developer.
I would like to know that, and I want to know how many stories exactly is the new development on Riverside on the channel?
It's 4
Four
stories.
stories? Okay,
Yeah, 4 stories.
okay. And when is this supposed to start?
That's the question. That's a big question. Nicole, do you know?
Through the chair. So tonight, the rezoning was adopted and the development permit and development variance permit were endorsed. And now it's up to the developer to submit their civil design for the property as well as their building permits. So right now it's in their hands and they're actively working on it. They provided some preliminary plans to us, but nothing so far. It should be soon.
Okay.
And who is the developer?
Developer is, go ahead. Nicole, SBL, is it?
No, thank you. Through the chair, we've been working with the developer who is on the line still and their architect from MQN.
MQN?
I can't hear you.
MQN.
MQM. Okay, and is the developer putting up a big sum of money to us, to the town, if they default on building, like the other ones that we've got in town, like we've got a couple concrete graves right now in town that we can't take down as a town, we don't have the money to. So I want to know how much money is this developer putting up to the town in a bond before he starts his work?
Maybe get Dean to answer that one. I don't think that's a requirement, but.
But it's probably never been a requirement. But you know, look at 2 Mile.
Yeah.
Look at Three Boys. You know, these are developments that went bankrupt and beautiful pieces of land. And we can't do a damn thing about it. And this shouldn't happen. If we were a smart community, like most communities, this would never have happened. Because the developer would have had to put up X number of dollars. Actually, it's almost more than the cost of the buildings. And it only goes to the town. And when the buildings are done, cleaned up, finished, done, they get their deposit.
I'll let Dean comment on that.
I think I understand what you're saying is a bond for development.
Yes.
In BC, we don't have the legislative authority to require that. So legislation hasn't afforded local governments the ability to do that. I understand, and I've certainly heard that at other times. I've worked in a number of communities. It's certainly something that's come forward. The province has actually done the opposite.
I'm not sure if BC does or doesn't, but I do know that it is happening in other communities, that they will not, the project go through unless there's X number of dollars put up. And I think it's time we smartened up. You know, I've lived in Sycamus since about 1966. We owned the Sycamus Marina. So I've seen lots change in this. I honestly have to say, I haven't been involved a lot because you really hope that the people that you have in government are looking after not just their stuff, but everybody. But I see Sycamus losing every time a building goes up. We've lost our charm. Totally lost our charm. The new one on Main Street, we've lost our charm. Like you go and check out Nelson or Fernie or any of those communities, they don't allow a lot of crap go on. You know, I know Nelson, I didn't know this, but my grandson spent a lot of time working that area. So, I mean, they don't allow nothing. They've got an A&W and a couple other things, but they don't want anything in like that to destroy their community. You know, and I know we were talking about the trails. You go to Nakusp now. Nakusp has overbeaten Sycamus 20 times over because they've kept their charm.
Yeah, we understand. And, you know, I mean, you know, Sycamoose hasn't been a like Trail or Nelson or not Trail, Nelson or Kimberly. It's not, hasn't been a mining town and have a big mill and it hasn't.
We have had, you talk to young people 30 to 40 that grew up here or have spent time here. They don't want to retire here. They don't even want to come back here because Sycamoose has lost its charm. Like I just had a grandson who wanted to purchase a business here, very expensive, and he walked. He said, there's nothing here anymore. The people my age don't want to come back. And that's it. We've lost our charm. And that's what I've got to say.
Everybody has a different idea of charm, but I do gotta say, there is a lot of young families. Our school is completely full, both of them. You know, both of them are full, so we're working on it and we understand what you mean. And
Well, I hope we don't have another concrete grave. That's what I.
thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Anybody else that wants to say a few words?
I agree with her as far as developments, and we've got two big ones now in Sycamoose that are a mess.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Nobody else? Anybody online? Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for their input. I know it was a long meeting, but we'll take it in consideration and we appreciate it. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting, recommended the regular council meeting on January 28th, 2026, be adjourned at 6:30. May I have a mover? Ian, seconder, Bob? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Adios.
Good night.